Coach has 10 minutes today, so I want to try to get to everyone's questions. Please raise your hands, and I will try to go in order. Let's start with Jackie Powell.
Hey, Coach, good to see you. So a couple of questions. We saw that Beck Allen was activated today. Just wondering what you expect from her and yeah.
Yeah, the Beck Allen addition could be really big for us. You know, she's got to get used to what we're doing on both ends of the floor. You know, we've tried to give her a crash course, but you know, with her unable to practice with the team with COVID protocols, it's there's a lot of catching up to do. So you know, you could see a lot, you could see a little. It really just depends on how it looks when we roll her out there.
And just to follow up, you know, a lot of your team isn't really used to the traveling that you guys did in the past 24 hours with being at the Webble all last season. So how is everyone doing, and how are you and your staff sort of trying to get some of the young players used to all of this?
I think, you know, with college travel, I think they're pretty accustomed to it. Nobody seems uncomfortable. The rhythm's pretty easy. Ohima does a heck of a job. I mean, it's, you know, everything runs so smoothly because of her. So I think everybody's pretty comfortable.
Great. Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks.
Alex Strum.
Hi, Coach. Nice to talk to you again. Hi, Walt. So during training camp, you essentially argued that it didn't matter if you guys were smaller in the paint because of all the skilled perimeter players and the perimeter talent. And in the first game of the season, that happened. They beat you in the paint, offensive rebound, second chance points, etc. But you outscored them all on the perimeter, and in the end, you won the game. So would you say that you're going to kind of double down on that strategy and keep attacking the perimeter, or you kind of adjust to their low post threats a little bit?
Well, if I said it doesn't matter,
I'm paraphrasing.
Okay, no, it's okay. I just want to make sure, because if I said that, then I'll go back on saying that it does matter. But it's more so that I think we can mitigate it, right? And we have to do a better job with the offensive rebounds. I don't know if you guys have looked at some of the other numbers. When you take out offensive rebounds, how damn good our defense was. It was ridiculous. I mean, the points per possession, the field goal percentage, unbelievably good. You know, so it's really a matter of now, to your point, trying to find ways to combine what makes that defense so good. And a lot of that is the positionless basketball. It is having players who can guard and play multiple positions. And now combining that with finding ways to combat, you know, one of the bigger teams in the league and their ability to get on the offensive glass. You know, I think there's some things we can do that are less traditional adjustments that we can make that we've already talked about. Obviously, we didn't have a bunch of practice time to drill it, but you know, we've got some ideas. And as we go through the year, we're kind of we have a list of things that ways to counter and answer some of those issues. But one of them is making them pay on the other end. And I think we still have a long way to go in terms of our ability to do that. And I think as our young players get used to playing against big players and they understand how they can attack that weakness, you're going to see more and more that I think other teams are going to have a hard time matching up with us, and they might have to make some adjustments rather than us making all the adjustments. So double down. Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. And if I can follow up on that, you're talking about young players, you're talking about players with positional versatility. Does that mean we could see more D.D. Richards tonight, who checked in the third quarter, but had an immediate impact?
I'd love to see more D.D. I would love to. It's going to depend. You know, it's the hard part is we've got Laney there right in front of her playing that same position. So finding minutes is tough, you know, trying to find a way, but I want to find a way. So again, it's a flow of the game thing. You know, I didn't plan to play Sabrina 36 last game, but she was making things flow for us. I mean, she really was making a massive difference. So, you know, it could be the same thing tonight with B, and I can't take her off the court, and I've got to find other creative ways to get Dee Dee in there. But, you know, there's always going to be people who are lost in the shuffle. There's always going to be, you know, and it's going to change from game to game depending on what we like on the offensive or defensive end. And that's why we have the lineup versatility we do. And the players know that. The players know that some games they might play 30 minutes and other games they might play 10 or 5. And that's why we're built the way that we're built, because we need to be versatile.
Thank you. See you post game.
Thanks.
Miles Ehrlich.
Hey, Coach. I'm going to follow up on Alex's first question there. Obviously, you guys had trouble keeping their bigs off the offensive glass last game. McCowan had 7 offensive boards. Lavender had 8. After watching the film, did anything in particular stand out to you? Whether it was that they were getting too deep on initial position, or was it more about the guards not crashing down enough?
Yeah, I think this is a little known fact. The offensive player is not allowed to displace people boxing out. And McCowan did it the entire game. She just put her knee on our back and drove us underneath the rim. That's the same as us setting a moving screen, right? It's the exact same thing. Whoever has the spot first is not allowed to be displaced. And I didn't think the officials did a very good job of reffing that particular portion of the game. So one thing that we have to do is get that spot faster, higher up the court. And I'm going to be talking to the referees prior to the game to remind them of that rule. Because I asked the lead official last year in our preseason meeting if that was the rule. She confirmed that was the rule. So I'm going to make sure that that they're aware of that, because that's one reason why we're comfortable doing what we're doing, is because we're playing by the rules. So that's going to be an adjustment that I think we'll see if they're willing to make, if they're willing to follow the rules. We'll find out.
Awesome. And Rashonda Gray was really great for you guys last game, especially in keeping McCowan out of the paint. Did she earn some extra time out there tonight?
She did. I think, ideally what I'd like to do is play Kylie and Rashonda in short bursts and go back and forth between the two of them and really lock in with them at that center position so that we can push and we can run. You guys saw when Rashonda got out and ran, it changed the game. I mean, it absolutely changed the game. It made it harder to keep Tiara on the floor. And, when you have Stokes and Tosh to go along with Kylie, that's what it's going to look like. So again, that's one way that we need to be better about exploiting the other side of the ball, right? When we're giving up some size, that's great, but they're giving up speed. And so we just have to get good at utilizing that speed. And that's why I want to go with those short bursts with those two tonight.
Awesome. Good luck.
Thank you.
Guys, we have a few more minutes with Coach. So I'm going to go Jeff and end with Doug. Thanks.
Thank you, Alicia. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Good to see you. Happy Sunday. Early in the portions of Friday's game, you guys remained in the contest despite Sabrina Ionescu posting non-Sabrina Ionescu numbers out there. She was scoreless in the first quarter. She was 1 for 6 in the first half, and yet you guys were in a tied competitive ball game in which you led a lot. How does it make you feel to see contributions from literally everyone on the roster at this point when the quote-unquote star attraction isn't performing numbers expected of her?
Yeah, I think if you go back and watch Sab in college, she had a lot of games where she would feel the game out and she'd let it come to her. Some games she'd come out and get 20 in the first half and then get 10 assists in the second. Some games she'd do the opposite. I want to say she had 7 assists in the first half, and that was why, she was doing a really good job distributing the ball. And so she didn't start to really look for her shot until the second half. And you'll see that a lot from her. You'll see her feel out the game. I mean, she's a really cerebral player. She's really good at manipulating what the defense is doing and taking what they're giving her. And having the skill set to be able to do it in multiple ways is what makes her so hard to guard. Because if you give her a mid-range, she's going to knock it down. If you give her the rim, she's going to get there. If you help too much, she's going to find somebody. That's, when you watch a Sue Bird or a Diana, obviously Sabrina's not at that level yet. But that's what made them so special in a lot of ways, is their capacity to burn you really with any coverage you brought. They had the counter for it. And I think Sabrina's on her way to being able to do that as well.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks.
Doug.
Hey, Coach. Apologize, I jumped on a little late. So if you answered this already, I'd love for you to answer it again. Is it fun having back-to-back games against the same team? Sort of you prepare that way. I mean, there's a bunch of them this year where we play the same team twice in a row to sort of, it's a playoff feel in a sense that way, but is it fun to have that, like trying to scout for another team within 2 days, so to speak?
Yeah, it is. I think, it would have been nice for our bigs reinforcements to be here for the second one, to really see, the adjustments that we can make with personnel wise, having the people that, that we planned. But yeah, from a coaching perspective, it's really fun, because we get to see if we can make little tweaks here and there and how that works, based on their coverages. They're going to do the same thing with us. I would imagine they're probably going to stick to the formula and, try to get the ball in the paint and try to punish us on the O boards. We're going to stick to the formula. We're going to try to get out and run and kind of supersize what we were doing. And so same thing I said last game, it's going to be a battle of who can play to their identity better, and who can make those little adjustments work for them. And hopefully, we're on the winning side of that.
And a second one is, you mentioned the other day, you're surprised you thought it'd be Benijah the way she would play, and you were spot on. Thought for today, is Benijah the sort of surprise again, or someone else you think might step up?
Yeah, I think this team, you're going to see the focal point change from game to game. I don't think you're going to necessarily see the same people coming out and getting 30, 25, 20, 18 every night. I think what you're going to see is a team that is finding its way to doing exactly what I said Sabrina does, which is, what are they giving us? Let's exploit that. Let's move to the places on the court where, hey, we like this matchup. Okay, let's go to Sammy tonight. Like, let's just run Sammy actions at them all night because we like that matchup, or we like how they're guarding it. And so it's hard to say. I think she put out a warning shot, Benijah. I think people now know why I said what I said. If they didn't from last year, they do now. She's more than capable, and there's still a ton of room for growth. But I think for our group, it's really a team effort. It's really going to be a case of what's open. We're going to find a way to exploit it. And I really couldn't tell you who it's going to be tonight, because they're going to try to do something different, I would imagine, to take us out of what we were doing. And so then it's a matter of how we counter, and who will benefit from that. It's hard to say.
Thanks, Coach.